Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us in the expert session. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce myself, and I'll also introduce my guests and speaker for this session. My name is Esther Wanza, a Kenyan by birth and a young renewable energy professional, currently working as an energy business mentor at Energy for Impact. I'm also the UNGCY Regional Youth Focal Point for Africa in support of UN food systems, and the co-founder Renao Energy, which is an energy startup committed to accelerating energy access in health centers in most off-grid areas in Kenya. My recent work at Energy for Impact has included business development, design and implementation of renewable energy projects, and support to startups, companies with advisory services. And for the last, I've supported over 150 women-led enterprises in the clean cooking and off-grid solar value chains. I'm also a member of the SDG7 Youth Constituency, and I've been involved in several activities, among them being the Arena Innovation Week 2020, where I was a youth speaker on entrepreneurship and innovation for green energy agenda, among other events. My recent work at Renao has also been featured at the Youth Sustainable Energy Hub and won the 2020 MGA Young Talent of the Year Award. I hold a bachelor's degree in renewable energy and biofuels technology. Before we get started, I wish to highlight some few housekeeping rules to help us run this session smoothly. Kindly keep the background noise to a minimum and make sure you mute your microphone when you are not speaking. For this session, we'll have a presentation from the expert, and thereafter we'll have a Q&A session. Kindly feel free to submit your questions at any time during the session through the Q&A feature or through the chat. A shift to a renewable energy is not just about to ensure a shift to renewable energy is not just enough to ensure just transition. We need to look on how we consume energy, how efficient the equipment and the processes are. We are the future energy leaders. Therefore, there's need for more experts in all sectors in the renewable energy space, and also in the energy efficiency area. In the next 20 minutes, you are going to hear from the expert, Mrs. Wendy da Cruz. Is going to share experience, motivations, and challenges faced in her career as an energy management systems expert. So a brief introduction about Wendy. Wendy da Cruz is South African born, and she has been involved in management system consulting, training, and auditing since the early 1990s, and is one of the first successful graduates of the UNIDO Energy Management System, and is currently an international UNIDO Energy Management System expert. Our qualifications include a Bachelor and a Bachelor's of Science Honors in Biochemistry with Master's in Science Certificate in Industrial Engineering at University of Stellenbosch. Wendy has provided successful assistance to more than 50 organizations in their achievement of management systems certification and accreditation in the field of energy as well as the environment and quality management. E&MS exposure has included various industrial sectors such as chemical, beverage, waste treatment, automotive, IT, plastics, aviation, and sanitation. Wendy has participated in the UNIDO Energy General Meetings, Vienna as the South African Conformity Assessment Representative. She has also held lead auditor registration status since 1999. Energy case studies of our clients reflect millions kilowatts rand savings. Wendy's ENMS training and facilitation experience includes ENMS introduction and expert level as well as lead auditor since 2012, delivered in South Africa, Ukraine, and Kenya. Among other energy management roles, Wendy serves as an NCPC ENMS training technical committee, CEM Energy Management Systems Awards, and also TC301 Technical Committee. Wendy's passion for systematic energy management is evident in her personal experience of energy performance improvement across a wide scope of organizations and the association for financial, environmental, and moral impacts. I take this opportunity to welcome Ms. Wendy to share her journey in her career as an energy management expert. Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you very much, Esther, and good morning, everybody. Just to contextualize where we are this morning, the Vienna Energy Forum this year is focused, well, it's the first completely remote one. It's aimed to facilitate a multi-sectoral, multi-stakeholder and interdisciplinary dialogue on sustainable energy for inclusive development and productive capacities. The motto for this year is where action meets ambition. And the part of the session that we're in at the moment is the Youth Day. And this segment aims to engage youth participants in an informal way. So please, our instructions are that you feel like you're having coffee with somebody, with Esther and myself. We're going to share with you, I'm going to journey. But if there is anything that you'd like to ask, please pop it in the chat or even, however you choose. The purpose that I've been asked to do is just to share the path that I have taken in terms of my career movement into the field of energy, performance management and energy transition. Thanks very much. Esther has introduced me, but I thought perhaps just to share with you, life is not about energy, but life needs energy. And I have tried to do different things at different times of my life. And one of those things has actually been a change to energy management. So I'm going to be sharing with you, and I welcome any interruptions or questions for clarification as we go through. This is not anybody else's journey, perhaps. It is what has happened to me with regards to energy and how I got into the field of energy management. What motivated me is I've always been passionate about environmental management. I come from the ISO 14001 School of Management Systems. And when I started looking into the big environmental impacts, things like greenhouse gas emission, and where these come from, in South Africa, electricity comprises by far level of greenhouse gas emissions. And if one looks at the global picture, it's also the emissions are very much.
Wendy, to interrupt, your voice is breaking. Yeah.
Okay.
I think okay. Now it's okay. You can carry on.
Is it better? Thank you so much for letting me know. Okay. I was just saying that the motivation for me to move more towards energy management was when I looked at the greenhouse and where they come from. In South Africa, where I'm from, by far the majority of our greenhouse gas emissions come from electricity and heat. But if we look at the global picture, it also has a vast impact. And so I thought that part of environmental management is energy management, and it would make sense to move towards focusing more on the energy side of things. And this was about tied in very much with the development of the ISO 50001 management system standard, which I was part of from a committee point of view. The career pathway that I took, I started in natural sciences. Thanks, Esther, as you've shared on the chemistry and bio. I started my studies in 19, and then moved towards doing a master's certificate in industrial engineering, because it deals with the engineering of processes. And at that time, I was very involved in environmental management processes, quality, and so it made sense to do that. That was about 10 years after I'd qualified with my initial qualifications. And then since the 1990s, I have been working on management systems, initially focusing on environmental management and quality management, but gaining experience in the systematic approach to managing. And from the 2012, I moved into energy management systems. Now, an energy management system is just a systematic approach to managing energy performance. I was part of the UNIDO program that commenced in 2011, working with companies since 2012. So my route towards energy management was strongly on the energy management system side of things. I know that I'm asked to share with you in the context of an energy management system expert. I'm not always so keen on that term because expert implies you know everything, and I believe firmly that nobody does. We're all on a continual learning process. One of the things I was asked to share with you is sort of where to start and what challenges there were and how to overcome those challenges. From my point of view, I got assistance along the way. I was fortunate to be part of the program, which was hosted in South Africa by NCP Production Centre of South Africa, and had a really, really privileged amount of exposure to different elements of management system and different applications. I was able to consult and to train and to audit. But I also believe that one of the do's is to liaise with your colleagues, if you have colleagues already, and network. If you are just leaving, if you're part of the youth that is just leaving your educational facility, try to find like-minded people that you're working with and keep in touch. You have, compared to when I left university in 1980, a really long, you have such amazing technological tools to be able to keep in touch. And then the second bullet, I've put opportunities that arise. The UNIDO and NCPC opportunity for getting involved in energy management system was very widely communicated and made available across the industrial sectors of South Africa. But at the time, in 2011, there were less than 50 people that took up that offer. And it's always been a strange one to me because it was really, it was made available really easily for people. I was surprised there were so few of us that took up that opportunity. So look around, keep your eyes peeled, and if there are opportunities, take them up. For myself, what I also did is I built on existing knowledge. I had chemical and biological knowledge. I had worked in industry in the automotive sector, and I had a lot of management system experience. So the transition for me into energy management, it made logical sense to move into the energy management system side of things, as opposed to the technical management or technology-based energy management. Although I wasn't ignorant in that area, I chose to focus on areas of expertise. I also did, by the time I got in 2011, 2012, I had quite a broad base of clients. I'm an independent consultant, trainer, and auditor, so I had my own sole proprietary little organization. I looked at the clients that I was working with and tried to spread the energy message. that were already focused on their environmental management system. That was a good starting point, because energy management and energy performance is without doubt a component of environmental management and ISO 14001. So I tried to promote the message. It was also difficult times at that time in South Africa with regards to particularly electrical energy security. We had a lot of supply, and so perhaps that was an opportune time to start speaking to people about energy. What I also did, and I believe it's helped, I didn't focus on one particular aspect of energy management. I looked at the three, at the consulting, which is the role that I played in helping companies to implement formalized energy management systems. It's a very participative role. Some of those clients were clients, some of them were NCPC, and some of them were my own clients. And the process there, a typical day of the consulting, is to work with the identify who the people are in an organization that have the most knowledge and the most to energy management, to identifying opportunities for improving energy management, as well as to implementing those opportunities and facilitating the implementation of a formalized management system, which we call system. It was since then up until today on training, various levels, entry, if it's companies that are new to energy management and energy performance, the training, expert levels, and lead audit. And along the road, the third sort of prong in my approach, I have continued to do auditing. And sort of staying in the loop of things. I also keep in touch in the voluntary arena, in the ISO T301 speaks to and deals with energy management systems and energy saving calculations. On the national front, I work on auditor registration authority on various auditing fields. So I think I try to list perhaps concise things that to me have been important in the last, coming up for 10 years, I mean, with energy management systems. Over the time, I have also picked up things that hinder a career in energy energy performance improvements, correct? And I think I've summarized them in 3 areas. The first is don't wait. There is never a perfect time improving energy performance in any organization, and so in your careers, I believe the same principle applies. It definitely applied to me. One is don't be deterred by what is already in place. Many companies that I've worked with, when I first start speaking to them about energy performance and energy improvement, they most frequently respond with reasons why they shouldn't change things. Talking about what's already in place, it has to be done like that because otherwise it's going to or compromise our communication, etc., etc. So it takes a mindset to not be deterred by what's already in place. And then please don't follow previous bad practices. You know, I'm a child of the 60s and 70s and 80s, and so I've seen how the world has become very much focused on more, on owning more, on having more, on making more money, and expanding at all costs. And I think it's only now in the last decade or so that we are getting to realize what the real cost of that sort of mindless expansion is. So wherever you are in the world, look to the advanced world, or the developed world as we call them, but don't follow the bad practices. Look to your own country and see how you can do it differently, in a way that is less harmful, more sustainable for the world and for. So just, if you're entering the field, I would say take the bull by the. Don't feel that there's any reason why you can't actively contribute to energy performance and energy performance improvement, because everybody can. It doesn't matter if you have a highly technical knowledge or whether you have a less technical. You can always make a difference. And it has consequent environmental improvements, cost reductions, and it definitely is very much of interest to the next generations. And talking about the next generations and parenting and children, this day today is aimed at the youth of the world. And one of the things about youth is that they have children and they become parents. And one of the things about children is that they learn most at their parents' knees. Babies and very young children absorb knowledge at an unbelievable rate. I recently became a grandparent, 3-year-old who can't learn fast enough about what's happening around him. So even if you don't enter a full-on energy career, please start with your family as young as possible. Try to make energy and conservation in general a way of life. And that then leads into education. I believe that the foundation of energy management is most effective if it is formalized as one of the subjects that's taught from the lowest grade of schools, that's kind of entry level, all the way through to the highest university degrees. I believe a shift in curriculum is happening. Where I come from, it is, but it's definitely required to raise awareness of energy management and the opportunities that it presents to future generations. And then, of course, business, we know that business has a need for saving money, for becoming more efficient, to allow them to be more profitable. The career opportunities, the two key areas that I think I've been touching on as I've gone along are the management system, that I've been more involved based on ISO 50001, which is a systematic approach that facilitates the sustainable side of energy performance improvement. So you still need projects to improve energy performance, but if you don't sustain gains from those projects, then you run a risk that although it's successfully delivered, it may not maintain the savings, and people may lose focus, and then the savings dwindle over time. So basically, this is what ISO 15000 is aimed at and structured around. The other stream for an energy career is the technical options, energy system optimization, energy efficient design, even operations and maintenance in plants. And you will note I haven't specifically mentioned renewables. It's very topical currently. The energy performance approach from the international ISO 50001 standard focuses very much on improving energy consumption and energy efficiency, and not just diving into the renewable, although that key area for us reducing greenhouse gas situation through energy. I think I've gone a little bit longer than I meant to. Esther, are there any questions that have come through?
So thank you so much for such a wonderful presentation. And just a question to ask, you've been in this space for quite some time. And whenever we are talking about energy transition, energy efficiency is something which is never talked about, or we are less about this sector. Is the key main challenge about people talking about this area? Is it that we don't have enough experts in this area, or what might it be?
Okay, thanks, Esther. Do you mean why are people focusing more on technology solutions like renewables rather than energy efficiency and energy management?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I suppose it's not as sexy. You know, if you're doing big projects and you have renewable projects, they are very topical, they're very evident. They definitely are visible. They're what people think is the biggest solution in energy management. Efficiency, optimizing, looking at at managing the energy that you consume in a more efficient way. It's almost a more under the radar way of considering energy performance improvement. And the question that you've asked is really a good one. Globally, people spend less trying to improve energy efficiency than they do like renewables. And the logical, the systematic approach, just look at what you're doing with uses. Optimize the energy that you're already consuming and wherever you are using it. And then you've optimized that. Once you've minimized that, you have less capacity that you need to put in place when it comes to renewables. I actually don't really know the answer as to why we hear so much more. I think it also comes from the government. In our country, there is a lot of focus on energy performance, including efficiency and management systems. But I think the biggest kind of media spinners are the renewable projects. Do you find the same here, Esther?
Yeah, it's the same here in Kenya. We don't have much, especially in the industrial sector. As much as we've had much pickup on people talking about energy efficiency in the industrial sector, it's less talked about and also in other sectors. Yeah. So I have a question from Michelle. She says she has worked in the energy sector for a while, but she'd like to know how to balance work and family, because it's quite demanding for women, and I agree with her on this.
Absolutely, I agree completely.
Sorry,
No, I'm not on. Can you hear me?
okay, yeah, yeah.
Okay, thanks for your question, Michelle. It's a difficult question for me. I don't have children. I come from a big family. I have two brothers and two sisters. So I have nieces abound, but I don't have children. But I did marry a man. My husband had a son who now has a son of his own. So that's how I have a grandchild. So I don't have personal experiencing in balancing this role. But from what I can see around people around me, it's almost there's almost a need for a period of time when your children are most needing you to have the balance leading more towards the family. But I'm really not able to speak from personal experience. I'm sorry about that. I just hugely admire all the mothers that I work with, because it's a wonderful job that you're doing, but it seems to be a 24/7 all the time job. So the fact that you are being a mother and holding down a job in energy is really admirable.
Sure, yeah. It's quite demanding for many mothers out here who are in the energy space, especially being that most of the energy work is technical, especially the young engineers, the women engineers in this. It's quite demanding for them. And I don't know who can, if you have any more ideas on how you've been managing, maybe there are other attendees here who have ideas on how to balance the work and family issues that can be kindly share with us in the chat box. On the other sector is about entrepreneurship in this sector. Maybe the startups and as we know, funding is quite an issue, especially for startups. What's your take or what's your advice to maybe the young people trying to develop a solution in this space as entrepreneurs?
I think my response is a little bit twofold. We do tend to think that the only way that one can improve energy performance is through the technological options, which obviously require funding to get off the ground. And that funding, I think, I don't know how these things work in other countries. Probably I would say contact the department of your government that deals with energy. They would probably be able to give you insight into startup funding, particularly if there's any energy-specific funding. There are international players. I've mentioned that I've worked with and still do work with UNIDO, who have energy projects that they run globally. I think GIZ, the German industrial zone organization, also has energy as part of their work that they do. I'm not sure if they do funding of startups. I'm not familiar with that, but they definitely do work in the energy space. But the other alternative, or sort of the other stream to make a difference in energy, is to look not only at new technology, but at the areas that you already know. Optimization, training, consultancy on management systems, which allows you to work with the organizations that you're engaging with to get a better understanding of what their energy needs are and how you can facilitate improving that. And that might also give more exposure in the beginning. If you are a youth that's entering the workplace and don't quite have, if you're not able to source funding to start off on your own to begin with, you could perhaps consider joining another company just as an interim to gain experience for yourself while you explore the routes of funding your startup.
That's great, Wendy. So we have kind of a comment. I don't know whether it's a comment or a question from Hamed. It says energy efficiency auditors to be aware of the many technologies in the renewable energy space, and maybe any others. How to keep aware of all these advancements in all these techs without going. I think he's trying to ask, how can someone be up to date about all these technologies without going deep into learning about all the technologies? So how do you keep yourself up to date to know what's new in the energy space?
Okay, I think I can quote the key science researchers who say that you need to get onto Twitter groups where you get updated information on those areas that you're responsible for. I was talking to one of the he's actually a medical professor. That the ability that he has now to keep up to date with what in the development and the research field, just through short tweeting and commenting, is much improved studies. So I think use the technology; it's available.
Oh, great. Unfortunately, our time is over. We need to head over to the main stage in the main session to hear from other speakers. Thank you so much, Wendy, for coming. Thank you for sharing your journey. It's quite motivational and inspiring.
Thank you.
I wish you all the
Esther.
for attending, and I wish you well. Goodbye. See you in the main
Bye.
stage.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for joining this session.